Well, blessed Monday to you as we come with your daily encouragement. And I want to thank you for the last couple weeks. I've had, unfortunately, take care of a lot of family things, and I wasn't able to get to doing these daily encouragements. But I feel rested up a little bit. It felt awkward not being able to do these each day, but I'm going to try to do my best now with doing that. And I also want to thank you for your prayers for both my cousin Mark and also my mother. Both are doing well as I'm hearing right now, but I do appreciate your prayers for both of them. These daily encouragements now during this time, at least temporarily, are going to be complementing the message that we have been studying on Sunday. And that message this week is about making your priorities right. It has to deal with the call of Matthew, the tax collector, and also the call of Jesus by others who needed healing. People like the leader of the synagogue and also the woman who were hemorrhaging. Both of those were examples of some people clean, some people not so clean. And the Pharisees always prided themselves by who they hung out with and who, more importantly, that they avoided. And Jesus seems to break those priorities. I want to read a little bit from Leviticus. This was one of those words that were prioritizing to the Pharisees, but also to Jesus. And I want to tell you how Jesus reinterprets these words from Moses in Leviticus 22. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Direct Aaron and his sons to deal carefully with the sacred donations of the people of Israel, which they dedicate to me, so that they may not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, if any one among all your offspring throughout your generation comes near the sacred donation, which the people of Israel dedicate to the Lord, while he is still in a state of uncleanliness, that person shall be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. No one of Aaron's offspring will who has a leprous disease or suffers a discharge may eat of the sacred donations until he is clean. Whoever touches anything made unclean by a corpse or a man who has had an emission of semen, and whoever touches the swarming things by which we are made unclean, and any human being by whom he may be made unclean, however, whatever his uncleanliness may be, the person who touches any such shall be unclean until evening, and shall not eat the sacred donations until he has washed his body with water. When the sun sets, he shall be clean, and afterwards he may eat the sacred donations, for they are his food. That which died or was torn by a wild animal shall he not eat, becoming unclean by it. I am the Lord. They shall keep my charge, so that they may not incur guilt and die in the sanctuary for having profaned it. I am the Lord, and I sanctify them. Now, on one aspect of reading this, you'd probably say, all I hear is law. And that is quite right. There are many ways that you could be made unclean. Many ways by which you would profane not only the sacred donation, but the very temple itself, and the ministry that you or I or anybody may be permitted to do would be tainted. But notice what it says. It says in verse 6, it says, the person who touches such a thing shall be unclean until evening, and shall not eat of the sacred donations unless he has washed his body in water. Now, we have, according to the New Testament, something that has washed us. And many of you know where I'm going with this. Once again, he's going towards baptism. How can water do such great things, Luther says in his catechism? Because it is not mere water. It is water connected to the promise of the word. That if you have faith in the forgiveness of Jesus Christ, you will be made clean. Now, I probably hear some others crying, well, there's many baptized people out there who do horrific things, sinful things, even deadly things. It is not lost on me that two of the world's worst dictators, Hitler and even Stalin, were baptized as infants. Does that mean that everything that they did will be forgiven or just set aside? I'm not God, so I can't be the one to judge that, but I can say that if you're not living in the promise, if you're not living in the forgiveness of what you were baptized into, which is easy to do when we get distracted, easy to do if we have lived many years away from even trying to wrestle with the sin within us. I mean, when we plant something, no matter how good it is, it still needs to be watered, it still needs to be nourished. And there is always hope of turning back, but the key thing I want you to see here is that the power of the water to cleanse is what makes someone clean again. So for the Pharisees that we heard about yesterday in Matthew 9, one of the things they prided themselves in doing was avoiding certain people, tax collectors, sinners, the dead. I mean, the synagogue leader probably had already approached some of the other rabbis and saying, can you raise my daughter? Can you raise? No, but there was one he trusted in that could do that and would respond, and that was Jesus. Not just a teacher, but Lord. There is one who could stop a woman from hemorrhaging and bring her back into the community, who was not worried about being made unclean, but was more worried of making the world clean by his power of his presence, the power of his blood, the power of his forgiveness. And that, of course, was Jesus. And when we're talking about being righteous, yes, we had to be aware that there is a sharp distinction about doing right and doing wrong. But when we have the water of baptism, when we have the promise of faith, when we have and trust and dwell in the good news, we have more power than we could ever have imagined. So take the heed from Leviticus 26. But don't forget the gospel. The one who washes themselves by evening will be made clean. By that mere water, how much more will the waters of baptism wash you and me, who have been made clean by the blood of the Lamb? God bless you today. We trust that these continue to be words of encouragement. Take care. We'll see you next time, and hopefully join us tomorrow. See ya.